Kiran, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, you are showing the SAP screen, right?
Yes, I am going to share the screen. That is ECC system. In the today's class, what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss. So, what are the settings required for transferring the transactional data from the ECC to GTS, and also what are So the settings required for transferring the transactional data and the settings required for transferring the master data between SAP ECC to GTS. So by this time, based on the previous classes, everybody might be aware of that. We will transfer, or we have a requirement of transferring transactional data and the master data from the ECC to GTS. I repeat it, as part of, okay, can everybody mute yourself? Okay. So as part of previous session, what we have discussed about the data replication. We have discussed about the data replication between SAP ECC and SAP GTS. So when we were discussing that area, we understood that, or we came to the conclusion that as part of ECC and the GTS integration, we have to transfer master data and the transactional data from ECC to GTS system. That's what we concluded. Can any one of you tell me, so what are the transactional data we have to transfer from ECC to GTS when it comes to the export related? When it comes to the export related point of view, when it comes to the export perspective, what is the transactional data we have to transfer from ECC to GTS system? Can anyone tell me?
Sales order.
So sales order, so outbound delivery, and the invoice or the pro forma document. So these are the three documents. What we have to transfer from ECC to GTS system when it comes to export perspective. This is what we already familiar. And also we have discussed about the transactional data, what we have to transfer for import perspective. What is the transactional data what you have to transfer from ECC to GTS when it comes to the import perspective? From the import perspective, we understood that we need to transfer purchase orders, inbound delivery, and the material document. So these are the six transactions. What we will transfer from ECC to GTS, as part of transactional data. And the second thing, what is the master data we have to transfer from the ECC to GTS? So you may be familiar that this is the area what we have discussed. That is, as part of ECC GTS integration, when it comes to the export perspective, we need to transfer sales order, outbound delivery, billing document. And when it comes to the import perspective, we need to transfer purchase order, inbound delivery, and the material document. So these are the six transactions what we have to transfer from the ECC to GTS. And also we discussed that whenever you transfer a sales order from ECC to GTS, what happens in the GTS system? What will happen? In the GTS system, the GTS system will create an associated or a corresponding, a GTS system creates a corresponding custom document or an associated custom document in the GTS system. That is, for every sales order, we have a custom document at the sales document level in the GTS. For every outbound delivery, we have a custom document at the delivery document level. For every billing or the pro forma, we have a customs export declaration document. So this is what happens when you transfer export transactions from ECC to GTS. In the similar way, when you transfer import transactions, what will happen? So what in the GTS system, when you transfer import transactions, so the GTS system creates, for every purchase order, it creates custom document at PO level, that is purchase order level. When you transfer inbound delivery, the GTS system creates an associated custom document at inbound delivery level. When you transfer the material document, the GTS system creates customs import declaration. So this is what happens for the import perspective. This is for the transactional data. And then we also discussed about the master data perspective. As part of master data integration from the ECC to GTS, so you are already familiar that we need to transfer customers, we need to transfer vendors, or we need to transfer contact persons, and also we need to transfer material master. So when you transfer the customer, when you transfer the vendor, when you transfer the contact person, what will happen in the GTS? From the GTS system creates an associated or the corresponding business partner record. So we have customer master, vendor master in the ECC, but whereas in the GTS, we don't have any customer master, we don't have any we don't have any vendor master. We have directly a business partner. Each and every customer will be having an associated business partner record in the GTS system. So I already explained that if GTS system creating a single master record that is called business partner, how can you differentiate one business partner to other business partner? Because there are some business partners related to the customers, there are some business partners related to the vendors, there are some business partners related to contact person or something else. Then how can you differentiate? What will differentiate this? How can you differentiate, or how the system will differentiate each and every business partner? How the system knows which business partner is a customer, which business partner is a vendor, or which business partner is a contact person? This also we discussed.
By assigning appropriate roles to each business partner.
Yes. By assigning appropriate roles. That means the GTS system will assign, whenever it is creating the business partner record, it automatically assigns business partner roles. For the customer business partner, it assigns the customer role. For the vendor business partner, it assigns the vendor role. For the contact person business partner, it assigns the role of contact person. So this way the GTS system is able to, or we can able to identify which business partner is a customer, which business partner is a vendor, or which business partner is a contact person. So we can differentiate this way. And the next thing, this also we discussed. Now this is the time to clear all of our doubts. That is basically, like, everybody might be curious that what settings are required. So what settings are required to transfer, like what need to be done? So you might be curious about to know what might be required to transfer the customer master from ECC to GTS, or you are curious about what is required, what need to be done to transfer the sales order from the ECC to GTS, or what is required for transferring outbound delivery from the ECC to GTS, or what need to be done to transfer the purchase orders from the ECC to GTS. That is the first thing, like what we need to clear from our side. So that the next step, at very first level, we need to know what settings are required in the ECC system. What settings are required in the ECC system for transferring master data and also we need to know what settings are required for transferring transactional data from the ECC to GTS. So that is what we need to know. So when I say settings, when I talk about the settings, so there are 6 business add-ins. There are 6 business add-ins. The business add-in is some kind of function module. It's not exact program, but it's some kind of function module. So in GTS we call it as business add-in, and also we call it as baddie. So there are some baddies which we need to activate. There are some baddies or the business add-ins which we need to activate in the ECC system to transfer all the 6 transactions, from the ECC to GTS. It is for the transactional data. So business add-ins are supposed to be activated, or business add-ins need to be activated to transfer transactional data from ECC to GTS. And what need to be done? What is required? So you understood that I just explained. In order to transfer the transactional data, what we need to do? We need to activate business add-ins, or you can say baddies. You need to activate baddies or business add-ins. So for transferring all the transactional data. But what need to be done, or what is required for transferring the master data? For transferring the master data, we need change pointers. ALE, we call it as ALE change pointers. We need to activate change pointers. For transferring the master data from ECC to GTS, we need to activate change pointers. But whereas for transferring the transactional data from ECC to GTS, we need business add-ins, baddies. So this is what we need to know the first 30 minutes of time in today's class. And once we are familiar about the business add-ins, what business add-ins or what ALE change pointers, then we will move to the concept of business partner. That is how to create the business partner, or how to create a new business partner role if you want, or what is the business partner category, and what is the number ranges. So these kind of things we will discuss the second part of today's class. So let me start the class. Let me start the screen, SAP. Okay. So this is ECC system. You can see. Okay, let me ask a question. So has everybody received the URL for installing SAP Logon Pack? Has everybody received URL for installing SAP GUI 730? So I hope you got it right.
No, I have not received that.
So who is that? Oh really?
Yeah.
So let me check it. Actually no. Okay. Let me tell you. I already spoke to them. After finishing this class, I am going to send you. This message is for all the new students, not for the old students. And I'm just telling you that for all the new students, the message is I already spoke to the server providers. My concern is whether you all install the SAP GUI or not. So if you already installed this GUI on your laptops or the computers, this need to be installed. For this, I already provided URL. Okay, I already provided the URL to install SAP GUI to your laptops or your computers. So once you install it, then you can start creating the systems to practice. Okay, so that's what we need. I hope everybody might be received. I don't know how the Sudhir has missed this, but anyhow I will re-forward it to him. And whoever is not installed, please install it by tomorrow, because you will be receiving IDs, the user IDs before the tomorrow's class. Okay, that is the one thing which I would like to communicate. Okay, and let me start. So this is ECC system. SAP, as I already told you, when you are working on SAP GTS, you always connected, you always connected your GTS system to the ECC system. That means, as part of ECC GTS integration, what we need to do, we have to connect our ECC system with the GTS system. Can anyone tell me why do we need to connect ECC system to the GTS system? Why do we need to connect the ECC system and the GTS system?
Real-time data can be transferred from ECC to...
Yes. Why? Because we never create any sales order directly in the GTS system. We never create any sales order directly in the ECC system. And also, we never create any purchase order, or we never create any billing document, or we never create any inbound delivery or the outbound delivery in the GTS system directly. But where we create all the transactions, all our export transactions and all our import transactions in the ECC system, and then we will feed the data to the GTS system. That means we will send, or we will transfer, or we will transmit or transfer or send the data from the ECC to GTS. Why? Because, as I already explained, when you are dealing with export transactions or import transactions, or when you are dealing with international trade transactions, what happens? You have so many regulations, you have so many rules and regulations which you have to fulfill. Whenever you have a requirement of fulfilling the export regulations or the rules, your ECC system is not capable, your ECC system is not good enough to take care of all the rules and regulations. Because of that reason, what you are doing? Because of that reason, you are transferring all the data from the ECC to GTS, and so that the GTS system is able to take care of all the steering activities. Since the ECC system is not capable, of doing all these things, what we are doing? We are transferring data from the ECC to GTS, and once the data will be available in the GTS system, then the GTS system is having the capability of doing all the screenings, whatever the regulation or whatever the screening is required or whatever the verification is required, everything will be taken care by the GTS system. So because of that reason, we are creating transactions in the ECC, and then we are transferring those transactions, we are creating all the transactions in the ECC, and then we are transferring this data to the GTS system for the screening purpose. So because of that reason, we are feeding, we are transferring the data or the transmitting data. So because of the reason, we call ECC system as a feeder system. Why you are calling as ECC feeder system? Can anyone guess? I already mentioned in previous explanation. So why we are calling, or why do we need to call ECC as a feeder system?
Because we are taking all the data from the...
Yes, because, correct. It is feeding, the ECC system feeding the data to the GTS, because the GTS system is not having anything. If you don't feed the data, if you don't send the data, the GTS system is not having anything. Because of the reason, we are creating all the transactions in the ECC, and then we are feeding the data, we are transmitting the data to the GTS system. So in order to transfer this transactional data or the master data, we need to discuss, we need to know what business items are required or what change pointer. Let me mute all, sorry. Okay. One more point, if anybody answers to the question, once you finish your answer, I request you all, just mute yourself. Please mute yourself, okay, so that sometimes I can mute you, but I may forget, so that then during that period people will have some disturbance, okay. So let me open the system. So ECC, okay, we need to go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG, and here we need to go to sales and distribution. We need to go to sales and distribution. So here we need to go to foreign trade and customs. I repeat it. If anybody want to note down, you can note down. SPRO, the transaction code. In SAP, you know that we are having transaction codes. We are having transaction codes to reach out or to access the system, to access particular transactions. So SPRO, IMG, sales and distribution, and then foreign trade customs. So here you can see global trade services plugin. You can see global trade services plugin. And then control data. Hello? Narasimha, tell me, Narasimha.
Yeah, we are on business connection server to connect did I miss something?
Okay, actually initial I think 10 minutes I have revised what I have covered in the previous class, and then I started explaining that you might be familiar that you already remember. I think you might be remember that we already we're already part of the previous session that in order to having the integration between ECC and GTS, we need to transfer transactional data like sales order, delivery, billing, and we need to transfer purchase order, inbound delivery material document from ECC to GTS. And also we discussed in the previous class, we need to transfer customer master or material master or vendor master from the ECC to GTS. And in today's class, we are going to discuss what settings are required to transfer this master data from ECC to GTS, and also what settings are required for transferring this transactional data from ECC to GTS. That is what I am going to show you. Okay? Okay, and then so control data transfer. So here technical activation of document transfer. Technical activation of document transfer. That's what we need to know now. Okay? So here in order to transfer sales documents from ECC to GTS, in order to transfer sales documents from ECC to
Chandra here.
Chandra, tell me, Chandra.
Sorry. Yeah, can you just show me the path again?
Okay, Chandra. Okay, Chandra. Okay. So SPRO, you need to use the transaction code SPRO, and then reference IMG, or you can use F5 or reference IMG, and then sales and distribution, and then foreign trade customs, and then SAP Global Trade Services plugin, Under that, control data for transferring to SAP GTS module, that is Global Trade Services. So here we have technical activation of document transfer. So this is the place where where we need to activate all the 6 business add-ins. These are the 6 business add-ins what we need to activate. Okay. So I already mentioned that 6 transactions need to be activated. What are the 6 transactions? Sales doc for export purpose, sales documents, outbound deliveries, billing documents. For import purpose, purchase documents, inbound deliveries, and material documents. So in order to transfer sales documents from the ECC to GTS, we need to activate the business add-in called SD0A. You can able to see SD0A for transferring the sales document from the ECC to GTS. And then for transferring outbound deliveries, we need to activate SD0B. And for transferring billing documents from ECC to GTS, we need to activate SD0C. For example, in your business process, you don't need to transfer billing documents. Then what you need to do, what you can do, you don't need to activate this. You can activate this or this. Or in general, let us say, in general what happens, your client only, okay, your client only doing export process. Your client is only participating in export process. When your client is participating in export process, do you need to transfer your import transaction from the ECC to GTS? Can anyone tell me? If your client ABC Corporation is only doing, if your client ABC Corporation is only participating or is only involving in export business, then do we need to transfer import transactions, like do we need to transfer purchase transactions or material management transaction from ECC to GTS?
Not required.
Not required, right? If your client is not doing business, that import business, there is no point of transferring the purchase orders or material documents or the inbound deliveries. Then what you do, you only activate SD0A, SD0B, SD0C. In contrast to that, in other words, for example, if your client is only doing import process, your client is not exporting anything, your client is simply importing something from the different countries, then do we need to activate export transactions like sales orders, outbound deliveries and billing documents from the ECC to GTS? No, we do not require. So it depends on your client business nature. It depends on your client business activities. So that if your client is involving in both export and import, definitely we need to activate MM0A, like all 6 business add-ins. Okay, that's what we need to know here. And then, so how to activate it? It is very simple. It's not involving any complexity. So when you click on here, there are only 2 points. There are only 2 things. Just give me 30 seconds. I'm just taking water. Sorry. There are only 2 points. If it was already activated, if a particular, or if the given business add-ins, that is SD0A or SD0B or SD0C, let us say it was already activated. If it was already activated, when you try to execute it or when you try to click on it, the system will ask you, what it will ask you, do you want to deactivate? So why it is asking a message, why it is giving a pop-up, or why it is giving a message, do you want to deactivate the business add-in? Can anyone tell me what does it mean? So that means this business add-in already activated. Already activated. So that is the reason what it is doing. It is saying that it is asking you, the business add-in was already activated. Do you want to deactivate? So that's what it is saying. And the next thing, for example, like if I deactivate it, when I try to click, let me deactivate it. Just for you, don't please do not touch these business add-ins at any point of time, because if somebody made deactivation, if it was in the deactivation mode, if the business add-in was in the deactivation mode, whenever you create any order, whenever you create any delivery, those transactions will not be transferred to the GTS. Then whoever is doing practice, those people will be having they need to check all the places what is happening. So if they know it, they can simply come here and they can check it. But if they are not familiar, they found very difficulty knowing the reason. So that is the reason, please do not touch these business add-ins. But I am explaining so that we will be clearing your doubts. Okay, let me just deactivate and activate later. Okay. So I just deactivated it. Okay. Now, if I click it now, what will happen? If I click it again, what will happen? What message we will see? Do you want to activate the business add-in? Why? Because I deactivated. So that's what I told. There are only two things. If it was already in the deactivation mode, it will ask you, do you want to activate? If it was in the activation mode, it will ask you, do you want to deactivate? So like this, there are only two options. Now I am activating. So this way, what you can do, you can activate a business add-in or deactivate the business add-ins. So these are the 6 business add-ins. It's very important, like an important question, important interview question. So whenever you are facing an interview, this is one of the standard question or basic question which you will be come across. So that please remember SD0A, SD0B, SD0C. These 3 are for export, like sales order, delivery and billing, and MM0A, MM0B and MM0C. These 3 are for transferring the import transactions from ECC to GTS. Okay. Now I am going to ask a question, one more important question. When I activate SD0A, what the system tries to do? When I activate SD0A, what the system tries to do as part of ECC GTS integration? Can anyone tell me?
You could try to search for the documents.
The system tries to transfer, right? The system, yes, the system tried to transfer all the documents, all the sales documents. The system tried to transfer all the sales documents from ECC to GTS. So that's for sure, right? That's what your understanding or what I have in my mind. Is everybody agree with me? So that is what happened. When you activate SD0A or when you activate SD0B, so what the system tries to do? The system tries to transfer each and every sales order what you created in the ECC. The each and sales order, sales document what you created, or each and every outbound delivery what you created in the ECC, it tries to transfer. So my concern is, so when it comes to the sales orders, what kind of sales orders you have in the ECC? What kind of sales orders? You might be having domestic sales orders, okay? One category, right? You might be you are creating sales orders for your domestic operations. You are also creating sales orders for your export transactions, and also you might be having some free of charge sales orders, some for giving employees free orders. You creating the free of charge orders, or for giving some samples. You are creating sample orders. So that means apart from the export sales orders, you are also creating regular sales orders, regular sales order for the domestic operation. You are also creating a free of charge sales orders for giving to the employees, or you are also creating a sample order, or you are also creating a credit memo request or a debit memo request, like different orders. You are creating different sales orders, different category of the sales orders, or different types of sales orders in the ECC. You know that, right? We have OR for the standard OR document type. We have a document type OR for standard orders. Okay, we have credit memo request, we have some other document type, debit memo request, we have some other document type, or you might be using for export orders EZOR or EOR document type. Like this, you are using different sales document categories or the different sales document types in the ECC for all our sales activities. So my point is, my question is, if I just activate and keep quiet, if I just activate and keep quiet by activating this, if I just activate this business ad in SD0A and keep quiet, what will happen? What will happen if I don't do anything? If I just activate it and if I keep quiet, what will happen? The system tries to transfer export orders, domestic orders, sample orders, free of charge orders, or something else, something else. Is it really required? Is it really required for us to transfer all the sales orders from the ECC to GTS, or we need particular category? Can anyone tell me? Only? Sidhu, not standard, export orders, right? Not the regular orders, right? So why only export orders? Why not domestic orders? Can anyone tell me? Why do we need to transfer export orders? Only why do we need to transfer?
Because GTS is something which gives it only exports and imports. The exports are the
Yes.
and need to be
Yes. So why? Because yes. Yes. So why? Because domestic sales orders, domestic transactions, whether it is purchase or sales, domestic orders are not required any checking process or any verification process. We do not require any checking or verification process. We only need to do the verification process. We only need to do the verification process for export transactions or import transactions. So because of that reason, apart from this activation of the business add-ins, what else we need to do? We also need to tell the system, you also need to tell the system what documents, because if you just activate this business add-in and keep quiet, system unnecessarily transfer all useless data, all unnecessary data from ECC to GTS. But in fact, what you need, you only need to transfer export transactions or import transactions. Because of that reason, what else we need to do? We have to tell the system what documents are required to transfer and what is not required. That means basically you need to specify what documents are required for a sales purpose, sales document purpose, or what documents are required for delivery purpose. We will see here. If I take this sales document and go to the document types, so this is the place where I need to tell. So many team members might be knowing, whenever you are creating an order, you are using a sales document. For example, if you want to create a sales order, what you do, you use VA01 transaction code, and then first of all you need to specify the document type, the order type. So this order type specify when you are creating any sales order for export purpose, when you are creating any order for the export purpose, or whatever it is, when you are creating any sales order, the basic standard requirement is to specify document type, order type, what type of order you are creating. Whether you are creating domestic order, whether you are creating export order, whether you are creating sample order, whether you are creating something else. So that document type need to be specified. So here in the config level, you need to tell the system what documents you want it to transfer from ECC to GTS. So since you are at a previous level, in the previous configuration, what you did, you simply say here, when you are activating the business add-in, you are simply saying, I want it to transfer all my sales orders. You are not giving any instruction, you are not giving any restriction. You are not maintaining any instruction here. Because of that reason, here we are putting an instruction saying that I just wanted to transfer GTOR, or I just want to transfer ZEOR, I just want to transfer ZDOR or ZGT1 or ZGTO. So that means whatever the document. So here in the demo system, people might be activated, unnecessary things. People might be activated unnecessary things. But in the real system, what we do, we only specify whatever the document, that is export. We only specify export documents. We only specify export documents types under the document types. Then what will happen? The system only transfer that document. The system only transfer orders associated this document type, or the system only transfer orders, sales orders associated this document type, or the sales orders associated this document type. Whatever the document you type, whatever the document type you specified here, system only transfers only those orders associated with these documents from the ECC to GTS. So this is the same way what you need to do for the outbound deliveries also. For outbound deliveries also, whatever the deliveries, whatever the delivery types, whatever the delivery documents you wanted to transfer from ECC to GTS, those delivery types, those document types you need to specify here. Let us say if you specify ZDLF, if you specify ZDLF document type, then what will happen? Whatever the delivery document, whatever the delivery number associated with this document type will be transferring to the GTS system, and all other delivery types and all other delivery numbers will not be transferred. Why? Because you did not mention. If you, whatever the document type you mentioned here, only delivery numbers associated with this document type, only delivery numbers created with this document type, those deliveries will be transferring to the GTS system. So this way you need to specify for each and every business add-in. For each and every business add-in, what you need to do, you have to specify document types. So in the similar way, you have to do it for purchase side also. Like MM0A, you have to specify what purchase orders you wanted to transfer from ECC to GTS, and what inbound deliveries you have to, what inbound deliveries. Okay, so what, no, actually as a GTS consultant, okay, as a GTS consultant, we need to make sure whether this business add-ins activated, whether these documents are activated or not. Okay, you will be giving access to the ECC system for these transactions. A GTS consultant will be having access to all these areas in the ECC. So actually we are in like Global Trade Services plugin, right? It is the GTS area. Though it is SD, even though this SAP Global Trade Services plugin was part of sales and distribution module in the ECC side, but still the GTS consultant is having access to take care of all these things. Okay? As a GTS consultant, you need to make sure whether each and every business add-in is already activated, or whether all the document types are already specified under each and every business add-in. That's what we need to do. Like this, these are the two important things. First of all, you need to activate the business add-in, and then in the second level, you need to.
How do you, when it's superior, how do you activate it? You mean you click on the checkbox, or how do you activate it?
Business add-in, right? Just click on here. That's it. You know this execution function, F8 function, are able to see F8 function, right? Icon, clock icon. Sudhir, when you click on it, it will ask you whether you want to deactivate it or activate. No.
Okay, that's all. But then selecting the documents, and then you're selecting the documents, how do you?
Okay, here if you go to this transaction, so here you need to select the business add-in and go to the document types. Okay, here go to the new entries, and whatever the document types you wanted to specify, you need to select the document. That's it. So there are different document types, right? So ZSP4 or ZSOR or ZUR, ZROR. So whatever the document, you just need to, that is only the mandatory field what you have to specify. And then once you specify the document, for example, if you want to transfer, so let us say, so this one, okay, and just save it. So then the document will be activated. So this way, whatever the document you wanted to add, you can add all those documents, okay, under this list. So that is how we create a new document type in the system. For example, if you want to deactivate, if you want to remove, if you want to add, you can go to the new entries. Or if you want to remove a particular document, for example, let us say, so this is the document which you found is not relevant. You don't want to transfer, the orders of this document type, the sales orders of this document type. Then you can simply, okay, delete and then save it. This way you can add a new document type or you can delete the existing document types from the list. So this is the same way, the same method what we follow for all 6 business add-ins. You can do the same thing for this one.
Venkat, can you just go inside again the same transaction?
Okay.
What is the function of the details dialog checkbox? Is it like it should be checked if it is activated?
No. Actually, when you are creating the manual, when you are creating a sales order manually in the ECC system, generally what we do in many of the cases, in general, you schedule the background jobs or you schedule like some kind of ad hoc process to create the sales orders, right? To create the sales orders, you can use some functional modules or you can use the background jobs, create the sales orders. In other cases, sometimes you create orders manually, right? The business users also create manual sales orders. So whenever they create a sales order, the GTA system will give a dialog box. I will show you. Okay, I will show you like when I'm transferring the data. So let me finish this explanation. I will show you. Whenever you are like creating manual sales order, the GTA system will give the dialog box saying that. So what is the result? What is the feedback of GTA system to the sales order on the ECC side? I will show you. Just give me a few minutes. Okay, I will show you. So whether you want the dialog box or you don't want the dialog box. So if you don't want the dialog box, you just deactivate it. If you want the dialog box, you can just activate it. And then you already we already discussed that each and every document will be undergo with the compliance management, right? Compliance checking. We already discussed that each and every order, each and every billing document, each and every order or each and every delivery or each and every purchase order or each and every inbound delivery will be undergoing the compliance screening, right? Like SPL screening, embargo, license screening, right? You remember, right? So whether you need that all these checking process for this document type or not, that's what you can specify at this compliance or the risk level. If we go back like this is the way what you do for each and every business add-ins. So like this what you do, you activate like this, you activate all the 6 business add-ins and you can specify and you will specify all the associated documents, all the associated document types for transferring the data. So this is for the transactional data. And what is left? The leftover is master data like customer, vendor or the material master. Now we need to know, so you understood that business add-ins are supposed to activate for transferring the transactional data. And what I said, what I already mentioned, for transferring the master data, what we need to activate? For transferring the master data, what we need to activate? ALE change pointers. ALE change, that is what we discussed. ALE change pointers we need to activate. So now we need to know where do we need to activate the change pointers. So here let me show you. So the transaction code or menu path. The transaction code, basically it is not having any menu path. We have a transaction code. We have a transaction code to reach out or to have a transaction code to activate change pointers. Okay, let me show you. Let me write the transaction code. I'm not sure whether somewhere I have written here. Okay. These are the 2 transaction codes. Is everybody able to see? Like let me bigger so that we can have more visibility. Okay. Let me make it red or whatever it is. Okay, so there are two transaction codes. What you have to by heart, what you have to remember, like like ECC, you don't need to remember. You don't need to remember transaction codes in the GTS system. As part of GTS, you don't need to remember transaction codes. Why? Because the GTS transaction codes are little lengthy. The GTS transaction codes are little lengthy, and nobody will ask you what is the transaction code, because it's very difficult. It's almost like or sometimes 14 characters, sometimes 15 characters, sometimes 10 characters. So because of that reason, nobody asks you to remember. But still, there are two transaction codes. There are two transaction codes which you have to remember. We call those transaction codes are area menu transaction codes. Area menu transaction codes. That means we have two different area menus. One area menu, we have one transaction code for accessing GTS area menu in the GTS system. So we have a dashboard, or we have an area menu, or we have a screen. We have a screen which is dedicated. We have a dashboard. We have a dashboard, or we have an area menu. We have a screen which is dedicated for GTS area menu in the GTS system and the GTS area menu in the ECC. So we have two dashboards. We have two dashboards. One is dedicated in the ECC system for GTS area menu. The other one is dedicated in the ECC for GTS area menu. So only those two transaction codes you have to remember. The first transaction code for accessing GTS area menu in the GTS system. This is the transaction code, the highlighted one. This is the transaction code which is used to access GTS area menu in the GTS system. Let me copy it. Okay. Let me go to GTS. Okay, this is the GTS system. NW 300. This is the GTS system. So here, if I use this transaction code, where I am coming, what is it? Can anyone read this? Global Trade Services. So this is called GTS area menu in the GTS system. This transaction code I have used in the GTS system. This is the GTS system. The previous system which I was explaining, few minutes back, that was, okay, ECC system. Let me make out two parts. Okay, this is GTS, and then this is ECC. Okay. Okay. So this is here the systems what we are using. NW7300. This is the GTS system on left hand side. On the right hand side, EH6800. This is the GTS system. So now I am telling you, we have GTS area menus in the both ECC and the GTS. SAP has given GTS area menu in both ECC and the GTS. So this is the transaction code for accessing GTS area menu in the GTS, and this is the transaction code for accessing GTS area menu in the GTS system. If you want to access the GTS area menu in the GTS system, so now you can see the GTS area menu. So the left hand side is the GTS area menu in the GTS system. How it looks? It has it is a dashboard where it has compliance management, customs management, risk management, and electronic compliance reporting, and also system administration. So this is the dashboard given for the GTS area menu in the GTS system. And then on the right hand side, so this is the GTS area menu for the in the ECC system. In the ECC system. Is everybody clear this? So there are two transaction codes to access the GTS area menu. One is for the access GTS area menu in the GTS. The other one is for the GTS area menu in the ECC system. That's what we need to remember. And the second thing, and one more thing, one more important thing is, in SAP ECC, I'm not sure whether I explained, whether I mentioned this point in the previous session. In SAP GTS, whether it is the transaction code, whether it is the program, whether it is the function module, whether it is the business add-in, whether it is the report, whether it is the user exit, whether it is the business add-in, whether it is like T code or table, whether it is the GTS table, whatever it is, whatever the element associated in SAP GTS will be starting with SAP SLL. You can see by looking at SAP SLL, if you come across any program starting with SAP SLL, if you come across any user exit starting with SAP SLL, if you come across any function module, any program starting with SAP SLL, then it doesn't mean it is a GTS transaction code, GTS table, GTS function module, GTS program, GTS report, GTS user exit. Just for your information, let me show you a few examples. Okay, this is the GTS system, and here, if I want to see the tables, what I can see. Sorry. So if you put and star, so these are all the, like, let me select 2000 entries. Okay, so now there are, like, 1600 tables for the GTS module. So these are all, like, what is the similar pattern you can see? All the tables, these are the tables, right? These are the tables. All the tables are starting with /SAP SLL. All the tables are starting with /SAP SLL. For example, if you want to find out control groups for the products, you can use the table /SAP SLL /CCGR. So for your information, you don't need to remember all the tables, but I can give some important tables. While closing, like, maybe as part of during the session, I will give you, as I already mentioned, like, in the initial discussion, I will give you important T codes, important tables, important interview questions, important support tickets, and important programs, important function modules, important user exits, important business add-ins. So these are all the data which I will be sharing, like, whenever we are come to, like, whenever you are close to like, session, like classes completion. So then I will be sharing all this data. So for your information, in the GTS, whether it is the table, whether it is the transaction code, whether it is the program, whether it is the function module, everything will be started with the /SAP SLL. So this is the table what I mentioned. For example, if you want to see the transaction code, you can go to TC. So for example, if you mention same thing, SAP SLL. So now you can see all the transaction codes. So these are the transaction codes for the GTS. You can see /SAP. So these are the T codes, right? You can see T code heading. These are all the T codes. What you can see, like, for transferring the legal units, you can use this transaction code. Or to display bill of products, you can use this transaction code. Or you can archive the business partners, you can use. Or to maintain the business partner, you can use this transaction code. So what is the similar? The similar thing, each and every transaction code is starting with the /SAP SLL. In the similar way, if you want to see the programs, for example, if you go to SC38, okay, if you want to see all the programs, so what you can do, again, if you put /SAP SLL /start, and if you click on match course or F4 option, the system sort out the display. These are all the programs, all program list, right? Program name. all GTS programs are starting with the /SAP SLL. If you want to see all the functional modules, so SE37, if you go to the SE37, so if you put /SAP SLL /star, you can see all the function modules associated with the SAP GTS. So these are all the functional modules which are related to the SAP GTS. So this way, the similar pattern what you can see for the GTS transaction codes, GTS tables, GTS function modules, GTS programs, GTS extractors, whatever it is start with /SAP SLL. Okay, this is what we need to know. And so this is okay. We need to know, like, we need to go to the ECC system. What we need to do, we need to discuss what change pointers we need to activate, what change pointers we need to activate for transferring master data from ECC to GTS. So this is the transaction code. This is the transaction code /SAP SLL /menu _ legal R3. This is the transaction code where you can activate ALE change pointers. Copy this transaction code. So if you use here, okay. So this is the transaction area. This is called, this is called GTS area menu in the ECC. GTS area menu in the ECC system. Here you need to go to the basic settings. So here, are you able to see here ALE change pointers? So here the second one. So ALE change pointers for message types. So here what you need to do. So these are the change pointers. That is /SAP SLL CREMAS SLL /SAP SLL DEBMAS SLL /SAP SLL MATMAS SLL. So this way what you do, you have to activate. For example, if you want to transfer vendor master, if you want to transfer all the vendor records, if you want to transfer all the vendor master record from the ECC to GTS, if you want to transfer all your vendors from ECC to GTS, then what you need to do, you have to activate the business add-in, that is /SAP SLL, this one. So this is the change pointer what you need to activate. This is the change pointer what you need to activate. Activating or deactivating, like check mark is activate, unchecking is deactivate. So this is the ALE change pointer, so which will help you to transfer vendor master from the ECC to GTS. In the similar way, for transferring the customer master, you have a lot of customers in the ECC. So if you want to transfer those customers from the ECC to GTS, you have to transfer /SAP SLL DEBMAS _ SLL. So this is the change pointer message type what we need to transfer, what you need to activate to transfer the customer master from the ECC to GTS. In the similar way, in order to transfer material master, so you need to activate the message type. You have a lot of materials, right? In ECC we have so many products. Products are the materials. So in order to transfer material master, in order to transfer product master, what you need to do, you have to activate this. You have to activate this ALE change pointer message type for transferring the product or the materials from the ECC to GTS. So this way, what you need to do, you have to activate the business add-ins for transferring the transactional data from the ECC to GTS, and so here we need to activate the change pointers for transferring the master data from the ECC to GTS. So this is very important area what everyone need to be familiar as part of SAP ECC and the GTS integration. Okay, and the next thing is, let me so now I'm going to back to GTS system. I'm going back to the GTS system. So here, can anyone define what is the business partner? Can anyone define what is the business partner? Who is the business partner? We already discussed in the previous class.
Business partner is nothing but either customer or vendor.
Okay, business partner. Okay. Any other like this? Okay. Still any generalized definition?
Anybody who is participating in the business partner is called as business partner.
Correct. So anyone who is participating in the business is a business partner. Is anyone or okay? Let me put it in this way. Business partner is a member. Business partner is an entity. Business partner is a member, or business partner is an entity, or business partner is an organizational unit. Is an organizational unit in the GTA system. That means in the GTA system, we consider a member, a customer, or a vendor is also a business partner. And in the GTS, we consider an entity like a bank or a financial institution. A bank or a financial institution also considered as a business partner. And also the special thing is in GTA system we consider organizational units also. Business partner. When I say organizational units, GTS you might be not familiar. I know that GTS you are not familiar what organizational units are there. But in ECC, what are the organizational units you are familiar? Company code. In ECC, we have different organizational units. Company code, sales organization, purchase organization, plant, sales office, distribution channel, division or purchase group. There are different organizational units. In the similar way, in GTS also, we have few organizational units. So in the GTS, we treat those organizational units also as a business partner. It is like one special thing which we need to digest. That is, business partner is a member, business partner is an organizational unit, or business partner is an entity. When I say business partner is an organization unit means it's a company code, or it's in the GTS it's like a foreign trade organization, or it's a legal unit, or it can be administrative unit. There are different organization units in the GTS which we call it as a business partner. That we will discuss later when it comes to the organizational structure. So once I finish the concept of the business partner, then I will get into, once I complete the concept of business partner, then I will get into organizational units. Then I will discuss what organizational units are there in the GTS system. Okay, that is the concept of business partner. And now we need to know what are the settings we need to do. Okay, let me put in this way. First of all, to create a business partner manually in the GTS system, we need to use the transaction code BP. BP means B for business, P for partner. B for business, P for partner. That means the short form of business partner itself is a transaction code. The transaction code for accessing to create the business partner, to change the existing business partner, to display the existing business partner, what you can do, you can use the transaction code BP. So whenever you use the BP transaction code, what will happen? You will get into the transaction code where you can create a business partner, or where you can display a business partner, or where you can change the business partner. So whenever you try to create a business partner, so this is something like our customer, right? In order to create customer master, if it is our ECC, if it is our ECC, to create, if it is our ECC, this is ECC system. If it is ECC, to create the customers, what transaction code we are using? We are using the transaction code XT01 or VD01. To create the customer master in the ECC, we are using the transaction code XD01 or VD01 is the transaction code to create the customer. In the similar way, to create the business partner record in the GTS system, the transaction code is BP. The transaction code is BP. This is the transaction code. Whenever you use the transaction code, what you can use, you can create a business partner. You can create a business partner. As I already told you, you can create the business partner as a person, or you can create the business partner as an organizational unit. If you want to create the business partner, if you have a requirement of creating the business partner as a member, as a person, you have to use the click create business partner as a person. But if you have a requirement of creating the business partner as an organization, then you have to click create an organization. And now I wanted to tell you, in general, you do not need to create any business partner as a customer. You do not need to create any business partner as a vendor, or you do not need to require any business partner as a contact person or whoever it is. Can anyone tell me what is the reason? Why don't we need to create a business partner as a customer directly in the GTS system? Or why don't we need to, or what is the reason for not creating business partner as a customer or business partner as a vendor in the GTS? Because we transfer the customer, yes, we transfer the customer and vendors from the ECC to GTS, right? Am I correct? So, based on our explanation, what we do, we create customers in the ECC, we create vendor in the ECC, and we transfer these customers and vendors from ECC to GTS. Whenever you transfer, the GTS system automatically create business partner record in the GTS. But which kind of business partner you created directly in the GTS? What kind of business partners you directly create in the GTS? You create a business partner as an organization. You create the business partner as an organizational unit. For example, when you click on create the business partner as an organization, when you click on create the business partner as an organization, that means you directly create business partners only for the organizational units. So here, when I click on create the business partner as an organization, what is the message everyone able to see on the down? Can anyone read? Yes. So that means whenever, if it is automatically creating, when you transfer the data customer vendor to the GTS system, automatically assign the role, because based on the settings, the system is automatically able to assign the roles to the business partner like customer or vendor. But when you are creating the business partner as an organizational unit, you have to specify the role. So what are the different roles available here? So there are some CRM roles you do not need to worry about. You can ignore. Because the reason for having CRM roles, the reason was the concept of business partner. The concept of business partner was introduced in the CRM module. Initially, very beginning, when SAP CRM module was introduced to the market, that time SAP was introduced the concept of business partner, and later it has spread over to other SRM module, SSCM module, and GTS module as well. So that is the reason you can see some CRM business partner roles, but from GTS perspective, you don't need to consider. But what are the business partner roles you have to consider? Again, the SLL. Okay. SLLAUT. That means if you are creating any business partner for the government agency, I will tell you when it comes to the SPL screening, I will explain you what is the government agency, who is the data provider. I will explain what is the data provider, or who is the data provider, who is the government agency. I will explain. So when you are creating the business partner as an organization, the system will give the roles, whether you want to create a business partner as a government agency, whether you want to create a business partner as a bank, whether you want to create a business partner as a customs office, whether you want to create a business partner as a custom business partner, whether you want to create a business partner as a data provider, or here whether you want to create a business partner as a foreign trade organization, or whether you want to create a business partner as a legal unit. So this way the system will ask you what kind of business partner you wanted to create. You have to select the role. So basically in SAP GTS we have two different organizational units. Majorly we have two different organizational units. Those two are foreign trade organization and the legal unit. We will discuss detail as part of organizational structure, but in order to understand the business partner concept, I am just giving that in the GTS we have two organizational units. Those are foreign trade organization. The role for creating the foreign trade organization is SLL-FTO, foreign trade organization. SLL is for GTS naming convention, FTO is foreign trade organization, and then legal unit. SLL-SIT is the legal role for the legal unit. So this way you can specify whatever the business partner role you wanted to use to create the foreign trade organization. And the next point is, apart from specifying the business partner role, you also need to specify the grouping. So grouping is something similar to account group in the ECC system. Maybe other than one or two members, everybody might be knowing what is account group. Other than one or two members, everybody knowing what is account group. For those members, I will explain maybe in the coming weekend I can spend some time to make them understand what is this grouping or what is this account group in ECC. I will explain to them. So here you need to specify the grouping. Why? Because there are two ways you can assign the names. You can assign the name or number to the business partner. That means whenever you are creating a customer, or especially whenever you are creating a business partner, there are two ways to give the name to the business partner. So if you want to give your own name, or whatever the name you wish, if you want to give your own name, then you have to specify the number range as external number range. If you specify the grouping as external number range, then you have an option to give your own name. For example, for the business partner what I am going to create, I am going to give the name as 1198. So now if I want to assign this name, like if I want to assign FTO, let me make it some unique one. For example, if you want to assign the name as 2020, if you want to assign the business partner name as FTO 2020, then what number? This is your wish, or this is your own intention to assign this name to the business partner who is going to create. In this requirement, you have to specify external number range. You have to specify the external number range grouping. Whenever you would like to have your own name to the business partner which is going to be created. So you can save it. Now, so let me specify some data. Okay, 2020. Let us say For test purpose I am not entering anything, or else let me Atlanta and the country US and GA. Okay, and now I can save it. When I save this business partner, what happens? What is the business partner name created by the system? What is the business partner name given by the system? So what is the business partner name given by the system?
FTU_2020.
Yes. I want to ask a question. Arvind? 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 Hello Arvind? Okay. So that means, Arvind, is the name given by the system is the same as what I would like to give, right? Is the different name, or the system gave the same name what I wanted to have? So whatever the name I would like to have, the same name was given by the system. Why? Because I selected the grouping external. Because when I say external number range, that means when I specify the grouping as external number range, that means system help me to assign whatever the name I want. But whereas if I specify the internal number range, okay, if I try to give some name, so what is the message it is giving? So that means if you select the grouping as internal number range, then system will take an opportunity. The system will not give an opportunity to you. System will not give an opportunity to you, because you are telling the system, when you select the internal number range, then system will understand. Yes, the system will understand. It has to assign the number whatever is available in the system. When you specify the grouping internal, the system understood, okay, it has to give its own name available in the system. But if you want to give your own name, then what you need to do, you have to assign the external number range. So like this, you can create internal number range, or like you can create business partner using the internal number range or external number range, whatever you wanted to have. Okay. So this is this is the way how you can create the business partner. In tomorrow's class, we have class tomorrow at 6:15. We have class tomorrow at 6:15. In tomorrow's class, what we do, we can continue to discuss the general basic settings of SAP GTS. Okay. Thank you for participating. A small announcement. I hope at 6:15. So tomorrow morning 6:15, and many of the team members, like it's message for the new team members. Whoever is attending old students, you can ignore this message. For all the new students, whoever is already paid, it's okay. But whoever are like almost 80% of the team members are already paid, but still 20% of the team members are not paid. Please pay it by tomorrow any cost, please, because I need to, based on the your confirmation, I will get the server access. Okay. Please pay it by today evening, your time, India time, at any cost, so that I can give the server access tomorrow morning. Okay, please. It's almost more than a week, and we are almost completed 5 to 6 class. I think 5 classes. 5 classes we have completed. Okay. Thank you for understanding, and see you tomorrow morning 6:15 a.m. IST.
Sir, Shobik is there.
Shobik, tell me, Shobik.
Sir, I have a question actually.
And one more thing, Shobik, one more thing. Whoever is paid the fee, can you please send me a confirmation, Venkat, I have paid, and this is the screenshot. I don't need the screenshot. You just mention the payment what you made, that so that I can just have a note from my side. Okay. And Shobik, you can ask me, Shobik.
Yes. I have a little confusion actually. Just want to first, for example, if a customer master data, right? So, for example, if a customer is moving from ECC GTS, right?
Yes.
Hello. Okay, if a customer is moving from ECC to GTS, for example, if the customer is XYZ, right? So in GTS, will we create the same customer as a business partner by assigning the role XYZ?
Okay.
The customer, the business partner name will be XYZ, same in GTS.
Okay. Here I need to tell you one thing. The system will be having different name. The system will not be having the same name. For example, let us say you transfer the customer 1234 in the ECC to GTS, then the GTS system will assign the other number range. It will not be having the same number range. But the name, you can see the same name, but the number assigned by the system with a different number. The ECC and the GTS system are not having the same numbers from in both the systems. Okay?
Okay. And after that, we have to assign the role as Chandar here.
Shobik, tell me. 1 minute, Chandar. Shobik is asking.
So once the customer master is getting transported to GTS, so the naming convention will be different, but after that we have to assign the role as customer.
Yes, system automatically assign. System automatically assign the role.
Okay.
Chandar, you can ask Chandar.
The role assignment will be automatically happening in GTS.
Yes.
Okay.
Chandar, tell me, Chandar.
Yeah, Venkat. It is continuation to Shobik's question. How do you identify, you mentioned system will be giving the role to the customer from ECC, whatever has been transferred from ECC to our GTS system. So, and system will be assigning the role there.
Yes.
How will the system identify what role has to be assigned?
Okay. Actually, as part of general settings, if you go to the general settings, okay, SPRO, when we not tomorrow, I think tomorrow we will discuss about organizational structure. When you start understanding or when we start discussing general settings of global trade services, we have a concept of partner structure. So here we tell the system what partner function from the ECC is equal to what business partner of the GTS module. Okay. So here we assign the partner function from the ECC to the business partner role of the GTS. Okay. So here you assign what partner function is equal to what business partner role. According to that, system automatically assigns the roles. Okay. We will discuss when we start when we are discussing the partner structure, then we will discuss this.
Okay. And one more thing regarding the change pointers, the customer master. Here in GTS we have activated the change pointers.
ECC. The change pointers are activated in the ECC.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got it.
Okay. Hello?
Hello. Yeah, Venkat, this is Gopi.
Okay, Gopi.
When we configure control setting for document transfer, no.
Oh, Gopi, tell me, Gopi.
Yeah, while configuring control setting for document transfer, can you show the screen just once in ECC? Can you help me with it?
Okay.
Yeah. For material document, document transfer material document. This is not. So we have defined our document type.
Okay.
The next one, document and control setting. just I wanted to ask, because material document will be same for import and domestic. How do we differentiate here?
No, but for whatever the material document.
The material document would be WE, might be the document type.
Whatever it is relevant, you just mention that. The domestic you can ignore. You need to create a different material document for export. Sorry, import. You need to create a different material document for import. You cannot use the same thing. You have to differentiate.
Document for import?
Yes. Yes, you have to create a different document types, or the other way is, in the user exit, you can mention. In the user exit, you can mention which organization units material document can be transferred, or which organization units material documents cannot be transferred. If you are using the same document, material document for both import and domestic, then you need to specify in the user exit that which organization units material documents need to be transferred, which other cannot be transferred. You can mention it. Okay?
No.
Okay. Okay. So thank you for participating. Who is it? Amit, tell me, Amit.
Yeah, one question.
I'm not getting your voice, Amit. I'm not getting anything. Maybe.
Yes, sir. What I'm saying is, there is some activation button. Like suppose if we click on effect button, then whatever the document we have in ECC, that can be transferred in. Yes, this one. Suppose if we click on any activate button, then how it gets transferred?
Which one? Which one?
Suppose this is SD03.
Okay.
So yeah, what does this mean?
If it was already activated, it is asking you. You want to deactivate.
Okay.
If it is
initially, sir, yeah. So initially we have to do first the setting for this SD0 to SD0, which university I have to transfer in details.
No, you do not do anything. But in general, all are activated. Okay. In general, all the business need to be activated based on your business nature, your client business nature. In demo system, all 6 are activated. In demo system, all 6 are activated. Okay.
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 Yeah, and then suppose in this billing document type, suppose I have to activate a few billing document types like IV or some.
Here you do that. So here in the next transaction. The next transaction, configure control settings for document transfer. You come here, you go to the SD0C, you specify, you enter, you go to the new entries, whatever the document types you wanted to transfer, you specify here. Okay?
Okay, means the first step will be the first we have to activate the
yes.
SD0C and then we configure the related document.
Yes. First of all, you need to activate there, and then you can specify the document types in the next step.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, and sir, one more thing. I joined late today because I came from a native place. So can you please share this today's recording?
Okay, I have recorded this session. Let me convert it and send it to you. Once I finish the class, I will convert it and send it to you. Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you very much.
So thank you for participating. See you tomorrow morning, 6:15. Okay?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Tell me, Amit.
My question is that we transfer customers and masters from ECC to GTS system, and we created organization and persons in GTS system, right?
Okay.
But we have to transfer all the master data from ECC to GTS system.
Yes.
Why did we create organization and person in GTS system?
We create only organization units in the GTS system. Okay? We create only organization units in the GTS system as a business partner. Customers and materials we transfer from the ECC to GTS. Is that your question? We only transfer customer and material from the ECC to GTS, but organizational units we don't transfer because in ECC we have maybe 40 to 50 organization units, but in the GTS we have only 2 organization units. So that's why we directly create the organization units and map later. We create foreign trade organization and the legal unit, and we map those 2 units to 2 of our ECC organizations. You will understand, when we start the organizational structure, you will understand clearly.
Okay.
Maybe tomorrow we will start that. Okay?
How important is this grouping part of case? What you asked previously, because I don't have any idea regarding that.
What?
So would that be difficult for me to understand in the next sessions or not?
Account group?
Yeah.
No, it's only one time. You will never come across that concept one more time. It's only like in today's class. You don't come across that concept.
This knowledge is what is important.
That's what I told you. Maybe maybe Friday or Friday I will call you, you and Madhavi, right? And I think I will call you explain what is the account group and what is the grouping. Okay?
Yes. So and the last thing you have done there, you have taken the external there, then you have to give the number, and when you take the internal thing, then when you take the internal thing, then it is not asking for anything to give, right?
System, it will not ask. System automatically assigns whatever the number available in the system.
Then it is only external, then we need to assign that.
Yes. If you specify the external number, then only you need to assign.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome. Thank you. Okay, thank you. And maybe 6:15. Okay, please remember 6:15 a.m. tomorrow morning.